Welcome to this episode of the Down the Pub podcast. Joining me at the bar this week is York United centre-back and one soccer analyst, part-time one soccer analyst, Jordan Wilson. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks for having me. I don't know if I can put that on the resume yet. Part-time one soccer analyst. They're showing me the ropes. We'll say that much. I'm trying to learn as much as I can. But I'm put center back / midfield. I still think I got some legs to play to be a holding midfielder as well. But other than that, thanks for having me.
Okay. No worries. I'll edit that bit in there just for Martin's just so he knows there's another string to your bow.
I appreciate it.
So just to kind of warm us into things, just have a couple of just easier questions. So what's your most memorable game as a spectator? Whether it doesn't have to be soccer, it can be basketball, whatever. What's the best game you've ever seen live?
Ooh, best game I've seen live has to be a trip I took with my dad and a few players here from Mississauga, Toronto. I was grade 8. We went to Italy and we saw AC Milan play Roma in it was at Roma.
Wow.
Unreal. This was like a time when Cafu was playing. I wish I could remember the whole lineup, but it was an unreal game just in terms of atmosphere. And I remember that the Milan fans that were there, they had to stay back for 45 minutes to clear out the stadium. It's just culture like that. Those are things you don't forget. I remember just watching and being in awe.
Wow, that's an incredible game to go to, at the stadium.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. What's your favorite post-game meal?
Post-game. So usually before a game, I'm not I'm eating my fruit or coconut water or whatever. I'm getting the stuff I need to get, but I could just pig out after. So we do these fresh bowls now, and it's starting to be one of my favorite post-game meals just because it's all the stuff you need, but I can pig out in a way. It'll be a Mediterranean bowl, but it's everything in it.
Nice.
So yeah, I would say that, or if I had the option, it would be some jerk chicken or rice and peas for my parents, but I don't get that all the time, right? So that would be, I'd say those two for sure.
Nice. And what's the best stadium you've played in outside of York Lions, obviously?
Best stadium I've played in. I guess people are gonna have to look this one up. A team called Espia, Wow, I'm killing myself here. BJERG FC. That was a nice stadium. Grass, it was huge. It's perfect setting.
Was that in Denmark?
Yeah, that was in Denmark. Sorry. That was a first division club in Denmark.
Nice. So, York, we were talking earlier on, you just finished training and stuff. So York have obviously started preseason very early this year. So, how's it been going?
Yeah, it's been good. We got some new signings. Obviously, the biggest one being our coach, Martin Nash, coming in. But it's been good. He definitely has a clear plan of how he wants to play. And it's been good just trying to get all the pieces together. I feel in preseason, you come with such high expectations. And then, at least for me, this is probably the 8th preseason I've been involved in. Then by the last 3 weeks, you just want to play. So I think he's had that good balance of, okay, these are the habits we want to do, but then we're still having fun at training and we're not getting too serious too early. You want to peak at the right time. So yeah, it's been good. It's been really good.
I know you played a preseason friendly against Forge there before they went to the Champions League. How did that go?
It was a good game. Forge still have some players that will hurt you. But yeah, I feel that was our first time really playing together as a team. We had so many different pieces. We had a really good first half in terms of we had a lot of chances and we were on the ball a lot and seemed really organized, especially for a group that was intermingled. It wasn't the same group as last year. It ended up 1-0. They had a pen at the end that they could have scored to make it 1-1. But the score wasn't the biggest thing. It was just the way we were playing. It was a really hopeful day because it shows that in this league, anyone could really beat anyone. And like Forge, I'd say, is a powerhouse. But if we play to the best of our ability, we could beat anyone in the league.
So, as you mentioned there, Martin coming in with the change of management, what type of energy has he brought to the group? Is it like, I'm not, obviously you can't say whether it's better or worse than what it was previously, but what's his approach to football?
You can definitely see he's defensive minded. It's about protecting what you have as opposed to gambling, which is a structure personally as a player I like, because I'm just a defensive minded player. But yeah, nowadays too, you kind of need a bit of everything. Like you got to work on your technique at training. You got to work on your fitness. You got to work on your tactical side of the game as well. So it's only been 2 weeks under him, but he's covering all of that. And yeah, I really like his approach. I think York's going to play an attractive style of football this year. Truthfully, last year we did as well. But yeah, this year I feel we could basically take our game to the next level as well. Because it's having another year of certain players playing together again. Like last year for me, it was just so many new pieces and we kind of fit and made it work sometimes. But now we also have another year of that. So we have another year to solidify that feeling and playing together. And then these new pieces could just really help.
Like last year, everything was up in the air, obviously because of COVID, went to the bubble, all that kind of stuff. So the kind of team was like, as you mentioned there, just trying to like throw them together a little bit. And you guys kind of hit your stride after you came back from the bubble and you were kind of really clicking into the gears and stuff like that. So do you think having this extended preseason is going to really help you develop that kind of team culture?
Yeah, I think to answer your question, it will definitely help. But I'm just like peaking at the right time is a huge thing. Do you know what I mean? Because you could have a 2-month preseason and maybe be overworked, or you come into the first game and as much as you've prepared, you just don't give your all. I think you could see last year, even for me personally, that having a 2-week preseason after not playing for 11 months and then going into a bubble, it was impossible for us to have quality. We were using the bubble as a preseason to figure each other out and to figure out what style we were trying to play. And kudos to Gaffer, Jimmy Brennan, and Stolly and Camilo for getting the most out of us at that time. But you could definitely say having a preseason together is, a cheat code to go into a season, because the 2-week nonsense that we had last year, I would never want to repeat again.
Just when I hear bubbles and stuff like that, I'm just like, I think the fans are done with it too. It was like, I think we all felt sorry for you, like looking at like the heat and all that kind of stuff you had to deal with.
You could say bubble, but it was like, I would say a month before we were in Winnipeg playing, like a lot of us as a team were like hopping a fence to go and train. And like, like the province was saying we couldn't train, we couldn't be in numbers more than whatever it was at the time. And we were like, yeah, but we have to be fit. So we can't just run at home on a treadmill. Like we have to get touches on the ball. So yeah, I think after the bubble too, you could see that we just had a month with each other. So we knew each other better, and like a month of fitness, playing every day and whatnot. And for the guys that didn't get injured, you could maybe take stride after the bubble. So I hope that never happens again. And even if they do ever have a bubble season, at least like be fair in terms of giving us at least a month to train.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just like a lot of stress on you guys. But one of the good things that came from last season for you, especially, is like, they brought in Dominic Sator, who's like one of the best defenders in the league, and you guys have built a pretty decent relationship. So how is that developing, and how good of a player is he to play alongside?
I appreciate Dom because I know what I'm gonna get every time I play with him. He's 100% kind of guy. And just good in the locker room. I think that's a big part as well. Because if I was to have a player that was a good player, but not a good person, I would just choose maybe a lesser talent, but a good person, if you know what I mean. So for me, he hits the nail on the head with those two things. Like, he's a good player and he wants to win. He's just a good person and look after the young guys, lead by example. So it was a pleasure playing with him this past season, and then now going into this season, we already have that chemistry and that brotherhood in place.
So just looking back a little bit, like on last year, like with the playoff run and stuff like that, it really looked like like Halifax and you guys were trying your best not to make it to the playoffs. Like those last six, those like sounded like as a Wanderers fan, like I think I got an ulcer towards the end. It was horrible. But like what was it like being in that, you know, like when you kind of like, you know, you just need to get over that line, and like Valor started putting everyone together, and like what was the pressure like in the team like at towards the end? And then
there's a lot of pressure, but Mikey Petrasco, we still laugh about it today because I sit next to him in the locker room, and every day he would come in and be like, all we gotta do is get a win. That's all we gotta do, boys, get a win. Then we win it, we would tie or whatever. It was our last 89th minute goal. And then we would watch a Wanderers game, and then you guys would bottle it as well. And then he'd come in the next day optimistic. He said, all we need is a point, or all we need is 3 points. That yo-yo ping pong that we were doing for the past, I guess it was a month. As a fan, it was exciting, but as a player, it was just so much stress, because it came to the point that my lady and I were watching Halifax play, knowing, okay, if you guys win, we have to get a win on against Fords in the last game of the season. Or I feel like if you guys won, you did it. Something like that. Regardless, it was like, as a player, you never want to be watching games to decide if you're going to the playoffs or not. So, yeah, it was an exciting time, definitely.
Yeah, like I think it was Valor played against Edmonton, and Edmonton were winning like 2-0, and then Valor came back to 2-2. So that started stuff, and then all we had to do was beat Ottawa, and we scored. So the place, like the Wanderers ground, was going nuts. Everybody like was incredibly happy, and then Martin Nash scored the equalizer, who used to play for the Wanderers, obviously. So the place just fell silent. The place just fell silent. And then when he celebrated, like he broke the corner flag, so he got sent off for that. So it was just like
still so questionable. I was like, can you get sent off for that? I was like,
it's like it was like when I was talking to him, I was like, man, that's like a Canadian heritage moment, you know. It's like the only person to ever be sent off for breaking the corner flag. But yeah, it was just a wild ride. But then like going into the playoffs, then do you think that kind of hindered you then, because you were like all over the place going into play like a team like Forge, who are obviously, as you mentioned, the powerhouse and are just like so settled?
Yeah, it's weird, that game, because I feel like as a team throughout the year, we always salvaged and always like we had enough. Like we found a way to get points. And I think when we played Forge, we kind of just hit a wall. Like we said, okay, this is maybe as far as we could go. To say they were better, yeah, I'll say they were better on the day, and they were a better squad overall. They had more pieces to hurt you. But yeah, you could basically say, I feel like our goal is to make it to playoffs. And then once we made it there, it's kind of just like, all right, let's see what we can do. As opposed to, okay, let's maybe play to go to the final. And I think also our playing style last year, we were like freestylers. Like, yeah, we had a game plan, but we were like, yo, let's go punish. Let's go counterattack. We weren't like we didn't go to Tim Hortons Field thinking, okay, we're going to sit back and counter. Like we were like, we're gonna play the same way that got us here, which was, you know, that 1-2 punch. Like you come on us, we come out, we go for it on you. So yeah, that's basically what happened.
Like, you know, I think you go back to like 1-1, like he's got back at like Petrasco scored and stuff like that. Like, did you feel like that you used, like as you said, with the 1-2 knockout, like did you feel like you were going to go on and win it then when Mikey scored, or did you know, like when you're playing a game, like I've never played at professional level, like, but you know, when you're playing a game, like you kind of know that the other team just has that little bit more than
you. Personally, when Mikey scored to 1-1, I was relieved, but I still wasn't optimistic that we were going to win. And maybe that's too honest to say, but I was just trying to do my best in the game. I feel like when they scored to 2-1, because I remember the player was so lucky. Like cut in, played a ball, like skipped over my foot. And then basically, what's his name? Navas was like in 1v1 and just like got to smash it in. And I was like, man, it's going to be tough for us to score a second goal. That's how I felt in that moment. But at 1-1, I was just relieved that, you know, we're going to halftime like even at Tim Hortons Field, because there's one leg, like anything can happen.
Yeah, it was a really good game to watch. Like I really enjoyed it, and like I kind of like the fact that as a neutral, it was like, as you said, you guys didn't sit back; he's kind of went for it. So it was kind of enjoyable to see how he has kind of approached it. And I kind of think of like if that was Halifax, the way that we play, we would have sat back and it probably would have been boring. So I appreciate you guys giving it a go. So, but so like one of the big moments like last year too was getting to play in BMO Field against Toronto. Like obviously the result wasn't the greatest, but like what was it like suiting up against like an MLS team like that, and what was the experience like for you?
It was a dream come true for me personally, because I've always wanted to play there. Like I knew like with the trajectory that my career went, like I was playing abroad and I went to like a small school in Michigan before. Like I just knew that playing at BMO might not ever happen. So to come back home and play in a stadium where I was always just a fan in was a dream come true. I wish we could play them again. Like in terms of, yeah, just play maybe, I don't know, play that game like we want to win it. I think that was one of the games this year we kind of just gave a team too much respect. And obviously TFC have so much talent, and we're playing in the biggest stadium that we're playing in for the year. And there was a lot of young players that this is the first time playing at such a high level. But yeah, still, I feel like we could have just went and said, yo, we're going to try to slay the Dragons today and just give it our all. So that was probably my only regret on the day, but it was still a nice feeling to, yeah, be in the stadium. Like my dad was there, and I remember when like the stadium was built. A lot of these guys were in diapers at that time, but for me, I actually remember when, BMO came, and it was just like, yeah, it was a surreal moment to be back and actually playing in a stadium like where I grew up in, or in an area I grew up in.
The game, I think, was originally supposed to be at York Lions, and then they moved it. Do you think that had you played that at York Lions, I know that obviously money-wise, it probably made more sense to play at BMO. Do you think you might have given them a better game if you had to play at home? Or is that?
I think the result would have been similar, to be honest. And I just think the atmosphere was far superior at BMO Field. Like it gave the boys just a different feeling. You know what I mean? I think that's what we want in Canadian culture with the game. That's why I always love playing at Halifax, because it's the closest feeling I get with the fans and the players and the grass pitch to Europe. Like, as long as everyone's respectful and you're not being racist or anything like that, you can say whatever you want to me at the game. Like, I kind of want that. I will say to the Halifax fans that it's probably not a good idea with me, because then I play better. But you want that environment. You don't want to go to an away game and it doesn't feel like it. You want to feel like, yeah, these guys hate you and they don't want you to win. And that's what I always appreciate about going to Halifax. So like having it at York, it just would have been more of a dead game. I like that we went to BMO and everyone was like, yo, you guys probably aren't going to score today, or you're not going to amount to anything, or you're out of your league. Like personally, I like that. I like that feeling.
Well, I mean, like the as you said there, like you guys have like such a young team. It probably didn't help playing in such a big stadium and stuff like that, because obviously Pacific went there and gave them a really good game and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we've seen like Lucas McNaughton move off to TFC, and Caden Chung has been rumored to be moving too. So do you think that this league is doing its job, where young talent is starting to, like, you know, players that probably would have never had that stage are starting to come through and be noticed?
Yeah, I think it's no secret that Canada has always produced talented players. I think it's just the middle ground that has always let us down. And the middle ground that I'm referring to is what happens to you after you turn 18. Like there's only a certain amount of players that could go to university or go straight playing pro when they're like a teenager. Right now, there's a league in place that you could play, develop, and potentially be seen. So it's doing its job. The next thing that I'm just hoping for and praying for, and it is actually coming to fruition right now, is just having more teams. So instead of playing, as much as I love playing Halifax, instead of playing you guys twice away and twice at home, we're maybe playing you guys twice for the year. If you have 12, 13, 14 teams, there's all those spots filled, and then we just fill the majority with Canadian players. And it's phenomenal because you'll see in the next 5 to 10 years, like the rewards of having something domestic, something to call our own, because every other country has that. Every other country like pumps their talent into the league. It's even worse in Europe. And I'm sure like you're Irish, like you see it all the time. Like U18, U20 players, they're coming up through the academy. They know the way that a club's going to play. They're known throughout the club, and then they're playing for their home club. It's a dream come true. Like this is where we need to get to in Canada, where you have players coming in. They know they have that pride, the sense of pride for who they're playing for, and then playing for our first team. We need more success stories like that.
The thing for me, like with the league, is how obviously there's trouble in Edmonton, and the league had to kind of pick up the slack for them for paying wages and stuff like that. But the fact that they're willing to, all the owners were willing to come together to save the franchise, like to me, it's like it says that the league is here to stay. And I think that's one of the biggest things for me, is that like so many leagues in North America come and go, and I don't want to see it happen in Canada, you know, because
for sure.
I think that when you see players like even Eastland Gara going to Romania, he's doing well in the first division. He scored his first goal the other night and stuff like that. Like, I mean, you have so many young players on your squad. Like, do you feel like there's players on your team that are ready to make that next step?
For sure, absolutely. I think there's a couple, some more ready than others, but yeah, for sure. I tell them to their face all the time, like, I shouldn't see you in like 2 years. I shouldn't. We should talk, we should text, but I shouldn't see you. I shouldn't be training with you because you're at the age and position where you can go and develop. And I think it's great having a Canadian league, but it's like anything. You want to try something new and see maybe what the other side is like. And for me personally, I did that, and it was the only option at the time. But I feel like these kids that are growing up in the CPL, I shouldn't say kids, we'll say young men that are growing up in the CPL, they have the best of both worlds. They have the comfort of still being homegrown and still developing at home or in their home country. And then they have a chance to maybe go abroad and make something happen. So this is a beautiful time. Because if you ask me about a CPL league, it could have been in place in terms of talent and the way that we love football or soccer here in Canada. It could have been in place 10, 15, 20 years ago. The infrastructure just wasn't there. Like, we didn't see bigger, and we didn't have people wanting to sponsor or be CEOs of clubs. Like, that just wasn't in place. So right now it's there, and we just need to relish this opportunity.
So do you see yourself, you're one of the older guys in the team. I know on the CPL thing, you kind of said that you're not that old. Obviously you're not, but like, do you see yourself as a kind of a mentor, like as a kind of like you know, like you've been to Europe and you've played there, like, so do you see yourself as being a mentor and helping these guys out?
Yeah, I think that's I do. I think that's probably the biggest part of my game. I think if I can't do that anymore, like lead by example, like be in people's faces, like pick my teammates up, just come with energy and passion, then I have to do something else. That's just like the way God made me. You know, I'm very hands-on. I'll bleed for my club. I want everyone to be successful. I'm super happy if one of my teammates score or they are playing great. So yeah, as like, I look at it, I was the same, honestly, at 23. I think I just know more now at 30. So that's just a huge part of, like, I guess what I bring as a player. It's like, yeah, I'm aggressive, and some days I'm good on the ball, but I think it's more of just like my personality. Like, I want the whole unit to do well.
That's awesome. So like, as you mentioned, you're like 5 or 6 years in Denmark, maybe more.
Yeah, so, about five and a half, 6.
So being a young man, like living abroad like that, like how did it help develop you as a player and as a person?
Good question. as a player, definitely, specifically in Denmark, they're so tactically sound. So like I loved playing there because I already had like the work rate, and I was technically good, you could say, but in terms of the tactics and just like knowing where to be and just being smarter with my body position and how to get the most out of situations, that was like a whole new world for me. So it was nice because I was challenged, because the thing that they grew up doing, I never did. So that's a kind of like, I kind of had to, I guess, get better at the areas I wasn't great in, but then show the areas I was already really good in all the time. So I had to think like there's no one that could beat me 1v1. There's no one that's going to win a duel in the air. And like I could still ping a 40, 50-yard ball, and I can tackle and I run forever. So I was like, every game I have to play and show that. And then the other bits just have to get better and better as I go.
And like, so being a young person and living abroad and stuff like that, like what kind of, like, how did that help you become to the person you are today? You know, it's difficult when you move away and
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, you know, you face some challenges for sure. But yeah, I think it helped me just always checking in on like who I am and what I want. I feel like when you're alone, I used to always want to be around people, and I feel like the 5-6 years, I still enjoy people's company. And obviously you can tell through the podcast, I enjoy talking, but it was nice to take like moments by myself and just really think about like what I want. Do I want to stay? Do I want to keep pushing? Do I want to try something new? What are my goals in the next 2-3 years? What's my goal this season? It just made me so reflective and like analytical about like what I want. And yeah, it helped me to grow, because I think my university years, like 17 to 21, 22, I was growing a lot, but I was all over the place. I think going and being on a different time zone and a whole different continent, it really helped me focus and like hone in on what I wanted as a person and a player.
So what was the, we mentioned there, like the perception of Canadian football is like a totally different now with like with the players that are here and stuff like that. But like, what was the perception of Canadian football when you went over first to Denmark, where like people like you actually play football in Canada, like you don't just all play ice hockey? Or
so it wasn't as bad as like comments I received when I was younger, like when I was 13, let's say, or even 17. Yeah, it was a bit better, but you have to keep in mind we didn't have an Alphonso Davies yet. I said this in the Black History Month CPL roundtable that we had, that Atiba Hutchinson was a bit of my savior. They always kind of been like, oh, you play like soccer in Canada? Like, I thought you guys play hockey. And I was like, yeah, we're good at hockey, but there are some ballers as well. And I'll just be like, Atiba Hutchinson. So it's funny because that was just one that obviously there are other Canadian players that played, but he tore up the league. Like he was, so I played in the first division. He played Super League, so he was playing the best league in Denmark. And he was the best player for like 2 seasons. And he won the Danish championship like 4 years in a row with Copenhagen. And he was like the best player. I remember seeing him play once when I was like 18. And I think he lost the ball one time. And he was just unreal. He was just like, if you see Atiba move, especially then, he was just like gliding. So I had that one player that I could be like, yeah, it's not like he was from Saskatoon or whatever. I was like, he's from Brampton, which is like 15 minutes from my house. And yeah, so I always had him that gave me validity for sure.
Wow, it's amazing having like a trailblazer like that, you know, somebody who's been there, done that just before you. But
that's literally what he is.
You know, the man's 39. Like I'm only 4 years older than him. I look like I'm about to die, and the guy still looks like he's in his 20s. So whatever.
Don't die on us, Anthony. We don't want that.
whatever he's using, I want to bottle it because I need it. So so, you know, just looking towards next season, you've obviously brought in some, like, Angus just finds these players from, who knows? I don't know. Like, I feel like he just plays Football Manager, and it's just like, I like the sound of that guy, and then goes and tries to sign him. But I mean, you brought in Daniel Obakar and Martin I'm probably saying the name's horribly wrong. Martin Gracier, am I saying it wrong?
You're doing great so far.
So do you think that those guys are going to take you to the next level next season?
It's a loaded question. I mean, these are only guys I've known for 2 weeks. And I basically have said that it takes more than just like talent to really, kind of push a team forward. So it's just how well we come together. I will say the core that we've kept is a great core. So it's really up to getting everyone on the same page. But it is a loaded question. I wish I could answer it better for you, but I can't really, I can't really read the future. Like, I don't know what the future holds. I know that these guys are coming with some quality, but how they fit into Martin Nash's system and how they fit in with the boys, and because it's different. Like, I know, let's say for Martin, who's Czech, I know he's played in the Serie A as well. It's just different with CPL. Like, they're defenders that want to kick you every day. That might be different from what he's used to. You know, maybe he's used to more time on the ball, or just not. It's just different. Getting all those things together, it's a big equation. So I feel like we can do it, but we'll see.
It's just that I want to put a bet on and win some money, so I'm just looking for some insider information. So,
you know, off the podcast, we can talk about it.
And the good thing is that, like, you know, Daniel's Danish, so you probably know a few swear words to say to him at training to help him along the way, right?
I practice my Danish every day with him, so that's good. I'm making sure that's still sharp.
I love it. So my last question, one but one. So you did you did a little bit of a soccer analysis with One Soccer last year. Like, so how much fun was it to do that? And is it something that you're gonna continue doing?
It was so much fun. It was nice. I loved everything about it. How you have to be quick on your toes, how like spontaneous it is. How you have to just be a matter of fact in what you say, and how you feel. And they took to me well, which I really appreciate, because there are guys and gals that have been doing this for many, many years. And sometimes when you get someone new, you could just be so standoffish, and everyone has treated me well and just like encouraged me, which is nice. But to be honest, Anthony, I just enjoy trying new things and like trying to get better at it. I don't want to try new things like don't play me striker. I don't know if I'm going to get enough. You're going to get a lot out of me. But I like trying new things. I like being like, oh, I'm a bit of a fish out of water right here, but I want to get better at it. So I'll say right now that broadcasting is definitely something that I would love to do in the future and continue to do right now. But yeah, we'll just see what opportunities come my way, or what the future holds.
Well, you were a natural. It was a lot of fun to listen to you, and I really enjoyed it. So hopefully you get a chance to do it again.
Appreciate it.
There's so many questions I think I forgot about. We were just talking there before we come on about the game in Halifax, the 3-3 game. What are your memories of that game, and what's it like being part of a game like that with the highs and lows? You know, like you guys were 2 up, then 2-2, then 3-2, 3-3. It was just an incredible game to watch.
I've been drained as a player a lot, like in my career. Like, you play hot days, like 35-degree weather, and whatever, you come off and like your face is salty and you're just like destroyed. You have like no water left in you. That in my life was the craziest game I've ever played in, but also the most emotionally draining game, because everyone who watches footy will say a 2-0 lead is like the worst lead to have. But that game, you were there, 2-0 with I think like 12 minutes left. I've never felt so confident. We were, of course, Wanderers, you guys had some chances at some points in the game, but Dom was feeling good. Our back line was feeling good. We were attacking well. And I remember at that time, that was like an issue for us. Like, we were scoring maybe 1 goal for the game. We had 2, and our attackers were doing like an exceedingly great job that day. So yeah, I will say the only thing I can apologize for is the first penalty. And again, I could care less, but the only penalty was the first penalty. Yeah, the second penalty was called, but the only penalty was me going, I forget his name, good player, but I bump him too late in the corner. I don't need to. That was my only mistake for the day. Well, not only mistake, but the only mistake that like cost us a goal was that first one. The second one, so we go with 2-1. At that point, I'm like, guys, we're going to ride out this game. I still didn't feel like we were going to lose. Then him getting by Chris Snow a little bit. And most players don't really beat Chris Snow most times, or rarely. And when he cut Chris Snow and then he tried to cut by me, I knew he was cutting onto his right foot. So I let him go. When the whistle was blown, I was convinced that he was getting a yellow card for embellishing. I was convinced. Like, if I had to put my parents' house or whatever on it, I'm convinced. I'm like, there's no way, because the way I moved and didn't touch him and didn't have contact, I was like, yeah, you gotta be kidding me. But I will say this is the beauty about having fans and having people so close to the touchline, because he drops in like around the 6 yard and he cuts and everyone's screaming that it's a pen. I know in my heart I didn't touch him. He knows in his heart he didn't get touched, but he drops. The fans go crazy. The ref says, you know what? Let me just mess up this whole game and I'm going to give a penalty. So already that alone, 2-2, I'm livid, right? Then Alvaro scores I think, goal of the season.
Oh,
I was like, people were trying to tell me, oh, other goals. I was like, for him to, on a wet surface, to kill the ball dead and then to ping it straight over your keeper from 45, 50 yards. I said, this is like, so many people could try this 10 times. They wouldn't even get it once. And I was like, for him to do that off the cusp in like the 91st minute, I was like, yeah, you gotta give it to him. It was an unreal goal. I remember sliding and being like, yes, it is finished. And then to go down with 3-2, and then I feel like, I don't know, I remember what happened, but we could have kicked it out for a throw-in, but we kicked it out for a corner. And I remember Shalik coming up and screaming, like, we'll score here, guys. And I remember thinking, like, there's no way that they're going to score. And then we did a flick-on header. I don't know what, like, all we had to do was head the ball out. The game had been over. We flicked it on. And then Kamar was alone. And then hit, like, yeah, I was weird. I ended up in the net like I was like Spider-Man or something like that. Like, everything was around me. I was like 3-3. I was like, this is the craziest game. But insider knowledge, I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for this, but you asked to talk about it. The next week, we get that same ref, and I gave him an earful. I was like, at the end of the game, I was like, you're atrocious. I was like, you want to, like, you're call, because again, for the 2-1 is deserved, but the 2-2, I'm sorry. If you watch this play over and over again, and I know, I'll be honest, if I foul someone, I'll say that. But like, he cut the ball and no one touched him, moved out the way. And he told me a week later, because he was refereeing us as forwards, or he was the fourth official. He said, I'm so sorry, I got that one wrong. And that one hurt, because he's admitting to me he got that call wrong, but we still only got a point that day. And that would have been a day we got 3 points. And then maybe at the end of the year, that wouldn't have been an issue. But that's also the beauty of football. Obviously, I was a culprit in that moment, and I was a long flight home. But yeah, that's the beauty of it. And then we'll get into like VAR and all that stuff another time. I'm on your podcast. But yeah, he got that decision wrong, but it didn't matter. We tied that day, and it was the craziest game I played in. And I personally don't think I'll play in a crazier game.
Oh, like being there and being a Wanderers fan, the second one was definitely a penalty.
The second was? No way. Oh my goodness. You know, and I believe that everyone thinks that. That's the funniest part. I believe that everyone's like, oh, that's a clear pen. And I was like, you guys are killing me.
God. Like, so I was right behind the goal for Alvaro's goal. Like, I was just right in behind the goal, and I saw the kick out. And I was like, oh, shit, that's a terrible kick out. And then watching Christian Oxner slide into the net after the goal goes in was just heartbreaking. It was like in slow motion, just watching the whole thing happen. And then the ball hits the net, and then he just slides in behind it. And I was just like, this sucks. We have to score. And then we went up the other end, and then I think Kamara, like when he took the shot, it was probably going wide, and then it, like, because he took an open goal and then it hit Abdi and went in. It was just a mad game, and like we were all soaking wet, It was just a horrible conditions, and then it was kind of nice to go home with a point. Yeah, and then
but this is what.
Go ahead.
This is what we want, though, Anthony. This is what we want. Like that culture. Although I've never been so upset after a game like I was that game. That's the culture that we want to create. Like that atmosphere in terms of you guys being cold, but you were there supporting your squad. And then honestly, I could say this on record. That result doesn't happen without you guys. Truthfully, you want to know why? Because the second one is not a pen. But you guys yelling and forcing the ref to blow his whistle, it makes it but like there's some truth in what I'm saying. Like you guys being at home, being down 2-0 and then 2-1 and then 2-2, it made it an atmosphere. If there were no fans there or there are 200 people watching the game, it was a different game. York wins that game. But you guys salvaging together and having such a great fan base is what made it a great game.
I'll take the assist on that one. So my last question, we ask everybody this in the show. You're going to play on in a 5-a-side tournament. From the players you've played with, who makes your team?
From the players that I've played with, like everywhere.
Everywhere.
Oof. 5-a-side. Okay, I gotta put my boy Roger Thompson as a defender because he's great with both feet. He's like 6'2", but he has feet like he's 5'7". Honestly, he has great feet, and I know if I give him like a look, like he'll go and like run through someone and like be aggressive, and like sometimes you need that. Oh God! I'll have me playing whatever in the middle of the back. I'll have me there as well. I'll play with a guy called Mascolend. His last name's Kaalund. He plays for Silkeborg right now, and I think they're in first division or maybe Super League right now. Yeah, but he's a baller. He was just a midfielder that I probably had the most success with. Like I played the 6, he played the 8. And tackle guys, beat maybe one guy, give him the ball. He was just really, really sound. Nice. Striker. Who is like with 5v5, you just want someone that's a machine, like just producing goals, even if they're this is such a tricky question. Okay, I gotta put Abzi. I'm so sorry. I have to put Abzi somewhere. So what are you at now? 4? I'm just missing someone else. A striker, like a dog up top. Whew.
So no goalkeeper, right?
Yeah, like I'm crazy enough to play goalkeeper for 5. I'm that guy. If you give me a jock, I'm like ready to go. Like I'll pick it off the face. Like I'm good. We just need a dog up front. Oh, that's easy. Mobile bully, 100%.
What a player, man. What a player.
Yeah, and like great player, great guy, but for 5-a-side as well, he would tear it up.
He's like,
and like it's weird because I want to put Noah in there as well for Hooven. I want to get him on the squad, but he would probably be like 6th man coming in.
Nice. He could play. He'd be like the sub goalkeeper. He's just switching in.
If we made the CPL edition, I would take out my boy from Denmark and I'd put him in for sure.
I love it.
It's literally like the same guy, just one's left-footed and one's right-footed. That's the only difference.
So if you can just recap your team for me, man, I appreciate it.
I got Roger Thompson with me in the back, or I guess I'm keeper. That's me on it. And we got Abzi. We got, I'll say Noah / Mascolin in Denmark, and then we got Mobile Bully up top.
It's a pretty solid team, my friend.
It's solid. Whatever teams we had before, I'm sure that our team could take them. I'm sure.
I think so. Although I did have I had Thomas and Volson on, who played with Van Dijk, and
okay,
his list was ridiculous, and I was just like,
that's the Van Dijk is already
It's the 5 of you against Van Dijk, and so man, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your hectic schedule to hang out and talk on the show, and I'll make sure to tell everybody in Halifax not to give you any stick because it makes you better when you get here.
Don't tell them that. Tell them to amp it up. This is what we want. Actually. This is the culture we want. Tell them to say that I'm so crap and my touch is poor. We're not going to win. Please tell them.
I will do that. So yeah, man, thanks so much. I really appreciate it, and best of luck with the season ahead.
Thanks for having me.
Yep.
Appreciate you.